You guys gonna leave this?
Yeah. And also
It's a great. Great city. I remember that. I remember that.
When this kid in an old factory.
Hello, how are you?
I'm fine. I'm taking daybreak.
All right.
I parked in Casper.
I tried to walk all that way. All righty. We'll probably put you wherever you feel comfortable. You'll be. Thank you. I don't know. I had a picture pulled up. Scanning. Yeah, it is not good. I wanted to listen to it. I had done that already. Yeah, he's just sitting like right. And I showed him like where he is.
Should that whole thing. So we have 10. Is he gonna win this step? He better. There's more coming in. I gotta judge. Walking. We don't walk. It's the lighting. It's the lighting. I'm live on YouTube. You're muted.
Pledge allegiance.
Yeah, they're working on it. It's starting to
I don't know, I was smart enough, I didn't know.
All rise. All right. Please remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You may all be seated. Welcome all to this investiture procedure for newly appointed 4B District Judge, Molly Tennessee Greenwalt. I'm really having a hard time keeping all those names. And then she surprised me today with her birth name, which is slightly different, I won't say it, but it's a little bit different, so now that's got me even more confused. But My name is Richard Ball. I'm one of two judges here in the 54B District Court in East Lansing. First, I'd like to thank the Greenwalt children. You probably figured out who those folks were, who are here with their dad, Kyle. I also don't know what to call Judge Elect, Judge Appointee, almost a judge, soon to be judge. I can still call him Judge Greenwalt. Her parents are here from Minnesota, her sister, her grandmother, and I'm going to let the new judge introduce them to you in a bit more detail. First, before we proceed, there are some public officials here who we'd like to recognize. I certainly hope I have the correct name. Someone will let me know if I don't. So, first, I heard a rumor that Governor James Blanchard is here. He retired, Governor Blanchard, in the Department of Small Worlds. It turns out that Governor Blanchard and Molly Tennessee Greenwalt's father were classmates some time ago, I won't say the year, at the University of Minnesota Law School. So we're happy to have you here, Governor Blanchard. The judges who are here, I'm going to try and introduce them without looking at my list because I know every one of them, but I'm not real certain because of the minutes. So I'm going to give this a shot here. And I'll start in the back row. On my right is Justice Elizabeth Clement of the Michigan Supreme Court. Next is Judge Amy, I always want to say Romaine, everybody does, Ronayne, R-O-N-A-Y-N-E, Rouse of Michigan Court of Appeals. Hingham County Circuit Judge Clinton Kennedy III. Hingham County Circuit Judge, Family Court Judge, recently appointed Lisa McCormick. Retired 54B District Court Judge, Andrea Larkin. Retired 54B District Judge, David Jordan. Judge Cynthia Ward from 54A District Court. Retired 54A District Court Judge Frank DeLuca. Stacia Buchanan, 54A District Court Judge, 54A is in Lansing. Chief Judge of the 54A District Court in Lansing, Louise Alderson. Chief Judge of the 55th District Court in Mason, it's Donald Allen. Thank you all for coming today. Good job. I want to say a few things about the 54A District Court. This court was legislated by the Michigan legislature, consistent with the Michigan Constitution of 1963. The legislation was adopted in 1968. This court, along with other district courts in Michigan, were operational effective January 1, 1971. The district courts are courts of limited jurisdiction. That means we can only do as district judges what the legislature tells us we can do. This investiture procedure, in accordance with that notion, is for the purpose of conferring upon the newly appointed judge the authority granted by the laws of the state of Michigan and the Michigan Constitution. Notice I didn't say power. Yes, judges have power. But that's not why we are elected or nominated. That's not why we hold office. We don't hold office for the purpose of exercising power. We hold office for the purpose of exercising the authority provided by law. That's what the oath is all about. And we'll hear that administered. I have the privilege of doing that a little bit later today to for Molly Tennessee Greenwalt. This court celebrates its 50th year. It's been 2021. Before it commenced in 1971. We've had 7 judges. Judge Greenwalt will be the 7th judge to serve this court over that time. Their first judge, they appointed, because there was no election for district court judges when we all started out in 1971. All of the judges who were then municipal judges were grandfathered into the district court. But the district judge rather, who was here, chose not to become the district judge, so one was nominated. He held office for only a few years. That was Maureen Schomburger. Then we had Judge Daniel Shearhart for nearly 3 terms. Not quite 3 terms. Some of you know that Judge Shearhart was a bit of a colorful individual. And we won't discuss that any further. Nonetheless, in 1986, Jules Zaslowski was able to be elected to the position. We were a 1-judge court until 2 years after Judge Zaslowski was elected. And then the 2nd judgeship was created here, which was filled by Judge David L. Jordan, who is with us today. Then, I ran against Judge Zaslowski in 1992, and I won by a landslide margin, 69 votes. That was only after a recount. I started out with 67. I had a recount and my margin swelled to 69, but when I saw it, it was 68 more than I needed in order to do that. I've been here ever since. Don't do the math on that. And then Judge Jordan retired, and in came Judge Larkin, who was the first female judge to serve here in 54B District Court. She served 8.5 years approximately. Decided to retire on June 1st, which created a vacancy that we are about to fill today. I wish there was some way to make all of that history interesting and funny, but it's very difficult to do that. So thank you for bearing with me. Now I've gotten way ahead of myself in my notes. I've indicated that the purpose of investiture is to confer upon the incoming judge the authority granted by the law, and the oath will be her solemn pledge to follow the laws of the United States, the laws of the state of Michigan, and in this case, in the case of the 54B District Court, the laws and ordinances of the city of East Lansing. The oath is required by our Michigan Constitution. Every public officer who serves as an officer, elected official, is required to take that oath. Now, I'd like to call forward soon-to-be judge-elect, recently nominated, Molly Tennessee Greenwalt. On my way, but I have not made it to a perfect finish. Because, for reasons I will describe in a moment or two, Molly Hennessy Greenwalt has asked retired Justice, former Chief Justice of the Michigan Supreme Court, to make a few remarks to those of you who are here today. And I'm going to quickly go through his curriculum vitae. Graduated from Duke University with a bachelor's degree in 1971, judicial or Juris Doctorate degree in 1974, served as Chief Counsel to the United States Senate Committee from 1978 to 1984, served as Assistant U.S. Attorney General in the Department of Justice, served as the District Attorney or United States Attorney for the Eastern District of Michigan in Detroit for approximately 4 years. In he was nominated and appointed, rather, to the Michigan Court of Appeals in 1995 by Governor Engler. He was then appointed to the Michigan Supreme Court in 1999 by I believe Governor Engler. He served the balance of Justice James Brickley's term because the Justice Brickley decided to retire before his term was complete. Justice Markman was required to run for the balance of that term, and then he was duly elected in 2000 and 2012 to regular, shall we say, 8-year term. Justices on the Supreme Court are elected to 8-year terms. He retired from the Michigan Supreme Court in 2020, but his real claim to fame is that early in 2020, as a Michigan, 2010 rather, as a Michigan Supreme Court Justice, he chose Molly Hennessy Greenwalt to be his clerk. Never realizing that he had launched a career in the justice system and the law that already has flourished at a tender age. Yes, a little tender than mine, that's for sure. But nevertheless, that's his claim to fame, his real claim to fame. Justice Martin.
Please forgive me. Tennessee Greenwalt, Judge Ball, Governor Blanchard, former colleague Justice Clement, all the judges in the jury box, friends and family of Judge Tennessee Greenwalt, and of course, most importantly, citizens of this community, this great state. Judge Ball didn't make any mistake in introducing Judge Tennessee Greenwalt before myself. I'm quite sure all of you are looking forward to a much greater degree to hear from her than from me. But nonetheless, let me take just a few minutes to offer some perspectives on this great occasion. It is very much an honor to participate in this ceremony to celebrate the appointment of the Honorable Molly Hennessy Greenwalt to the District Court of East Lansing. This is the only court dedicated exclusively to this community, one that's part of the capital area of our state, home to one of the largest and greatest public universities of our nation, in the setting of one of the most important nuclear science laboratories of our world. And by the end of today's ceremony, Judge Hennessy Greenwalt and Judge Ball will share between them an average of more than 14 years of service on this very singular court. As Judge Ball indicated, I was blessed to have worked with Molly for 2 terms on the Michigan Supreme Court, although I think it began in 2009 to the best of my recollection. And I served in that court, as indicated, until last year, when I reached an age, one that I will not disclose, that rendered me constitutionally incapable of further service on the court. I suppose I was presumptively senile at that point. At least so our Constitution provided. In any event, I recall that my friend Judge Dave McKeague of the Federal Circuit Court called me up one day to extol the virtues of a young woman who had worked as a legal intern in his office and urged me to meet with her. It was my great fortune that he had no positions open at that time and that I did. And I met with Molly, and soon she became one of the indispensable parts of our judicial office, carrying out law clerkly duties by personally reviewing during her 2 years of tenure on the Supreme Court several thousand applications for appeal and preparing countless numbers of court orders, opinions, and scholarly legal memorandums to be shared with other justices and their law clerks on the court. As one might expect from an English major, Her writing was of the highest craftsmanship, clear and articulate and flowing, although occasionally I must indicate with an unnecessary comma or two. And as one might expect from an editor of the law review of the law school just down the road. Her legal analyses and judgments were invariably precise and logical and thoughtful. And Molly was a law clerk who, in common with the best of law clerks, was also my legal counsel. Never hesitant to tell me when she believed I was mistaken, hard as it might be to believe, or why it was necessary in some regard to reorganize an opinion or to give greater or lesser emphasis to some point made in the memorandum. Molly is an individual whose judgment and discretion and insight I came immensely to admire and to trust. And hope that she is fortunate enough in her new position to have her own Molly caliber law clerk sitting alongside her as she ponders and struggles, as any jurist inevitably must, with the difficulties and conundrums of her own docket. No offense intended to Molly, however, but I do regret that she didn't pay more attention to another of her responsibilities. As her office was the initial part of our judicial office that a visitor would encounter, it was her obligation to ensure that our office's candy jar would always be full and available for those visitors. Well, in fact, Molly did keep the jar full and available. I was occasionally disappointed with the particular candy she served. And each of you knows exactly what I mean by this. The types of candies we were all disappointed to find in our Halloween bags. Well, I sought to instruct Molly in this regard. I don't know that she ever truly got it. I can always speculate that Halloween trick-and-treaters at her home in East Lansing are given something like a stick of a sugar-free gum. And learn quickly to bypass the wrong substance. In any event, Molly left the Supreme Court to become a prosecutor. And one must carefully read her resume summarizing this experience to fully understand why she was a conscientious prosecutor and why she's destined to become an equally conscientious jurist. She describes her work in her resume in a former position as, and I quote, having prosecuted felony and misdemeanor cases in Ingham County, including work with victims. But she adds several critical words of description. She prosecuted felony and misdemeanor cases while protecting the rights of criminal defendants in Ingham County. Although my judgment, most prosecutors in our state seek to do just that, not all would expressly define their most fundamental responsibilities in a short resume in these terms, in which the prosecution of cases and the protection of rights share equal standing. Joined together, these two areas of responsibility describe the tension that lies at the heart of our criminal and constitutional processes, the tension that unites the prosecutor and the judge, protecting the people from criminal activity while upholding the constitutional rights of the suspects in those activities. District courts, district judges are the gatekeepers of our justice process, and Molly will be one of the very best in placing these considerations in responsible equilibrium. And when Molly left the prosecutor's office after 5 years, she rejoined the Supreme Court as one of our 15 commissioners. These commissioners comprise one of the great but unappreciated law firms of our state. Its attorneys, with Molly a full partner, provide initial reports and intake analyses on the 200 or so applications for appeal that are filed with the Supreme Court each month. And these are then shared with the 7 offices of the justices. And unlike most other attorneys and law firms throughout Michigan, the partners of this firm, the commission commissioner's law firm do not have the luxury of specializing in a single area of legal endeavor. They have to specialize in everything, in every aspect of Michigan law, for in the end, almost every type of a dispute eventually comes before the Michigan Supreme Court. Disputes that are civil, criminal, domestic, constitutional, common law, personal injury, business, and municipal, to name only a few. Each commissioner thus must be learned in school in the procedures, the doctrines, the decisions, and the substance of the entirety of Michigan law. Huge responsibility. Moreover, in addition to these ordinary responsibilities of the commissioner in gaining a mastery over the entirety of Michigan law, Molly bore special responsibilities in assisting the court in its administrative work, which comprises a surprisingly large part of the court's agenda. Supervising, for example, matters of attorney and judicial discipline, determining rules of evidence and trial procedure, establishing appellate rules, supervising the state bar, and so on and on and on. I do not exaggerate when I venture that it is hard to imagine an individual better prepared than Molly to carry out her judicial responsibilities on day one. But it is also hard to imagine an individual more than Molly who will work each day beyond that to become even better prepared with each passing moment. For it is not enough that she is well versed in the law, although she is. Equally importantly, she possesses what have been described as the great neutral attributes required of the best judges. Those assuring that she will grow and mature as a jurist on the bench. These attributes include patience and respect shown to witnesses, parties, and attorneys, the ability to know when to speak and when to listen, a sense of fair-mindedness and even-handedness, and of course, a strong work ethic. Maybe most importantly, it entails a commitment to take seriously the judicial oath of office that Judge Ball just mentioned a few minutes ago. Not to read it and recite it on day one and forget about it thereafter, but to have it as a living part of the day-to-day routine in serving on the court. The governor has made a distinguished appointment to Molly Hennessy Greenwalt, and she will serve this community with distinction, and she will serve our Constitution and our rule of law with equal distinction. And that is precisely why today's ceremony is important and critical in the life of this community, for there's nothing more important to a free and prosperous people than the rule of law. Equal rule of law, and that these lie at the foundation of that community. Thank you again for the opportunity to participate in this ceremony. I share all your welcoming for Molly Hennessy Greenwalt to the court, and know that you will all be tremendously proud of what she does on behalf of your community. Thank you.
Thank you, Justice Markman. I had a chance to review my notes and note that I forgot to introduce the items. First of all, we have State Representative Julie Griffin. Mayor Jesse Gray from the city of Lansing. Mayor Pro Tem Dan Watson.
We have East Lansing School Board with Martin.
It's on my list, I just didn't get to it. Are there any council members here? Councilmember Babcock, Councilmember Bacon?
They said they regret.
Sorry?
They said they regret.
Okay. I'm sorry. At any rate, I just want to say, following up on Justice Martin's remarks, the personal remarks that I've only known Judge Leslie now for Judge Leslie Greenwalt for less than 4 weeks. And I think I can assure you all that what Justice Martin said is true and correct. Well, I can say this, you know a lot more about the law. But I will say, and she used the word the other day when she was talking to our staff, and she used the word at least twice. And that was the word humble. And I think she comes to this job despite her qualifications, despite her accomplishments, despite her academic resume. She comes here with a sense of, one of the times I've said, and my father used to say over and over and over again, humility is a sign of greatness. I think he stole that from Dale Carnegie. But nevertheless, he said it enough times to me over the years that I'll never forget it. And I watch for it. People, and I try to watch for it in myself. I don't always succeed probably, but I try to come to this job. I know she does too, because she's already convinced me. A sense of humility and a sense of wanting to be polite, wanting to be fair, wanting to be just, wanting to exercise, again, for only the authority that you're permitted to exercise. Those are all terrific qualities for the judge. Justice Martin mentioned the constitutional provisions about how often judges can run. We cannot run under the Constitution, a public document. No reason we can't say it. Past our 70th. We cannot run for election after our 70th birthday, which is going to apply to me very soon. So, with that,
I tried to keep the age secret.
I didn't say that. As I was preparing Justice Markman's curriculum vitae, I came across his I'm just
Yeah.
no reason to. Let's call Molly Hennessy Greenwalt forward. And the first thing I'd like you to do is introduce your family.
Thank you. And I'll say it again, Justice Martin, but thank you so much for those words. It means so much to me. Thank you all so much for being here. I'm going to say a few remarks after the oath, but now I just wanted to introduce my family to you all. My husband, Kyle Greenwalt, is here. Kyle's an associate professor here at MSU in college education, and he is the reason why I'm here today. We came here about 15 years ago to start our life and build a family here. And I have my son Gus, my oldest. He is going to be a freshman this year at East High School. I think of him, he is my first year of law school baby, born about 10 days after my last exam that first year. Thank you, Gus. This is my son Teddy Greenwalt. He's going to be a 7th grader this year at McDonald Middle School, and Teddy was my 3rd year of law school baby. He was born over spring break, my 3rd year. Thank you, Teddy. And this is Mary Rose, our daughter. She'll be a 3rd grader this year at Marble Elementary, and she is my assistant prosecutor assigned to Judge Allen's courtroom, district court baby. And I don't know if there's any connection. Judge Allen, I'll have to talk about this, but she's a really big talker. So I don't know if that much time spent in Judge Allen's courtroom had any impact. And as Judge Ball indicated, I have my dear family, some of them here from Minnesota. Anyone who knows me knows that I was born and raised in Minnesota. It's sort of one of my defining characteristics. My dear father, Bob Hennessy, is here today. My dad is a lawyer who practiced in the Twin Cities for over 40 years. He is a attorney through and through, it is in his bones. He taught me to love and respect this profession. And as indicated, he has, built so many friendships and has been such a good servant to the bar. Of one of those friendships is a member of that Minnesota law school class, I'll say it, of 1968. And Governor Blanchard, once again, I'm so thrilled that you're here. And there are other classmates and friends of my dad and Governor Blanchard who have been very helpful. I just want to recognize one in case he is watching via YouTube, and that would be former Justice Paul Anderson of the Minnesota Supreme Court. He was extremely instrumental and helpful and always been a good friend of our family. My dear mother, Mary Ellen Hennessy, is here today. She is a remarkable woman and the glue that holds our family together. My mom gives 100% to the work she does and the people she loves, even when it's not always necessary and even in life's craziness and busyness. And I think in many ways, she's taught me more than anyone about how to be a good judge. My accomplished and lovely sister, Kathleen Hennessy, is here today. I'll just say, if you want to have a fun, interesting conversation at the reception afterwards, I recommend finding Kathleen. And this is really special to me. My 95-year-old grandmother, Terry Byrne, is here today, traveled from Minnesota, made such an effort, and I love her so dearly for that. She is the former First Lady of my hometown of St. Paul, Minnesota. My dear grandfather, Tom Byrne, was mayor in the late 60s, and we think about him today because he would really love this a lot. Or as Grandma said, wouldn't his buttons be bursting? She's also promised to help me with my campaign, so I think I'm all set. Good. So I also just want to acknowledge, I have two brothers who are not here today, Pastor and Bobby, and they're lovely families that are watching from Minnesota and San Francisco, and I'm thinking about you all and sending my love to you.
Now, it's my pleasure and I'm proud that soon-to-be Judge Greenwalt has asked me to administer the oath. As I said to some folks the other day, and talking to our staff and some other folks who are here from the city, this is a big deal. It's something, and Justice Martin said it also, it's something that is undertaken at the commencement of one's term of office, term of employment. One is a non-elected public official, and soon for and I'm sad to say I could come up with some very clear violations of the oath that have occurred in the last, say, 20 or 30 years. It is sad that that's the case. As I said, this is a big deal, and these are words that have to be remembered for the rest of one's judicial career. And ask Judge Greenwalt to raise her right hand. Please repeat after me. I, Molly Hennessy Greenwalt,
I, Molly Hennessy Greenwalt,
solemnly swear
solemnly swear
that I will support
that I will support
the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the State of Michigan,
the Constitution of the State of Michigan,
the laws and ordinances of the City of East Lansing,
the laws and ordinances of the City of East Lansing,
and that I will faithfully
and that I will faithfully
discharge the duties
discharge the duties
of the office of 54B District Judge
of the office of 54B District Judge
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
Part of this process process is signature on the oath. Transmittal to the office of Grace C. Greenwalt, it's time to take the bench. Whoops, first you have to do it over. Then move forward, participate. It's now time for Judge Greenwalt to take the bench.
Quite a view. Former Governor Blanchard, Representative Brixey, Justice Markman, Justice Clement, Judge Ball, and all my fellow judges, other distinguished guests, and my dear family, friends, and neighbors, thank you so much for being here to share this happy day with me. It has been exactly 1 month to the day since I was appointed by the governor. And to give you a sense of how things have changed in that month, on that day, I was at a Little League baseball tournament, cheering on my son Teddy and the U12 East Lansing baseball team at Cooperstown. I was trying to get, the cell service wasn't great. I was trying to get good cell service and be able to take the governor's call. And now here we are today, and I'm with all you wonderful people in this courtroom, wearing this robe, on this bench. So it's been a whirlwind, and it has been really an experience of a lifetime. There are many thank yous in order to people who have made this possible. First, I want to thank Governor Whitmer and her team for the trust they have placed in me. I was lucky enough to overlap with Governor Whitmer when she was the interim Ingham County prosecutor. And when she left that office, she wrote a personal note to each of the assistant prosecutors. And I always kept that note because I thought it was such an example of considerate and exemplary leadership. And that's the type of leadership she has continued as our governor. I am so very humbled by this appointment. I have to thank Justice Markman, a person and a jurist of the highest standards. From his example, I have learned so much about how to think about the law, how to write, how to work, how to be a dedicated public servant, and how to be a good steward of the public purse. I am so touched by your words today, and I thank you again for being here. I also want to thank Justice Beth Clement, who knows just a little bit about this appointment process and whose counsel and advice was invaluable. Thank you so much. And to all my fellow judges in the box here, my connections to each of you have been at different points in my career. I am indebted to each of you, and I am so very proud to call you my colleagues and to serve with you. There are a few special words I would like to make to the 54B District Court judges. Judge Jordan is a person who just cares so deeply about this court. He still continues to serve. We've been able to preside together over a few matters in the past few weeks. And in a month where I've been touched by so many considerate and thoughtful gestures, it has been Judge Jordan who has stood out to me. He lent me this robe, which was his wife, Judge Carolyn Stell's robe. And that's just one of the most thoughtful gestures. Judge Carolyn Stell was the first woman judge of this county. And I am so very proud to wear her robe. And I also loved it. There's a shamrock on the label, Judge Jordan. I don't know if you noticed that, but that made me happy too. Judge Andrea Larkin, whose seat I am so proud to be filling. As we noted before, Judge Larkin is the first female judge of this court, and I thank her for paving that path for me and for many women to come. I also want to thank Judge Larkin for starting the 54B District Court, Sobriety Court, and Drug Court. That was a really brave and ambitious thing to do. I am so very excited to preside over those courts and to continue your work and your legacy. There are many other reasons to thank Judge Larkin, including the list of advice I found in my desk drawer. We can have to talk about that later. But I just wanted to say that throughout this process, when I was asked what kind of judge I wanted to be and who I would like to emulate, my answer was RBG and Judge Larkin. And I stand by that answer. And then Judge Ball. I did not have the pleasure and privilege of knowing Judge Ball before this appointment. But in this month, it has become so apparent to me that he is that rare judge who combines exceptional intelligence, common sense, compassion, humor, and experience. He is an ideal mentor, and I could not be more fortunate to be able to serve with him on this court. Thank you, Judge Ball. And before I leave the 54B family, I have to thank the wonderful staff who has given me such an incredible welcome here. Our court administrator, Nicole Evans. Thank you, Nicole. Our deputy court administrator, Kevin Tatro. My unbelievable staff, Caitlin Horn and Officer Stephanie Gonzalez, all of the probation department. It has been just the most, I just have been so touched and feel so lucky to be working with this group of dedicated public servants that are here. And they also give me the confidence to know that this will all go well because I have them with me. I introduced my family, and I just want to give another thank you to them, especially Kyle, who I don't know if there's anyone that is more excited and proud for me. His support of me and my career has been unceasing to the point of being irrational, I would say, at points. But none of this is possible without him. I also see a lot of former colleagues from the prosecutor's office and friends from the Michigan Supreme Court Commissioner's office, as well as members of the bar who have become friends and colleagues over the year. I thank you all for being here, and I'm so looking forward to working with you more closely again. There's one individual in particular who I just wanted to say a special recognition to, and that is my friend Andrew Abood. Andrew Abood gave me my first job in the law when I was a second-year law student, and he hired me as a law clerk. And so I've known Andrew a long time. When it was Andrew who called last spring and let me know that Judge Larkin was retiring. And, it was probably a Tuesday morning, and he, as he can, caught me off guard. And when he first told me, I said, oh, I'm very happy at the commissioner's office and things are good. And Andrew's response was, I don't know, I thought that's what you always wanted. And I'm sure many of us can relate to that feeling of having to admit that Andrew was right. He was right. So thank you, Andrew. I also see a lot of friends and neighbors from our wonderful Bailey neighborhood. I could not do what I do with our family if it wasn't for you and for the village that is our wonderful Bailey neighborhood. So thank you all for being here. What I want to say about the type of judge I will aspire to be came very early to me during this whirlwind of a month. I actually started reading the Code of Judicial Conduct on that drive back from Cooperstown, because even on a family trip to Cooperstown, I did have my court rules with me, which I was very happy about. An independent and honorable judiciary is indispensable to justice in our society. That is Canon 1 of the Code of Judicial Conduct. It is the first sentence. And I do want to say for the record, I did read past the first sentence of Canon 1. But for the purposes of this proceeding, that is what I want to emphasize. There are important and robust discussions going on in our society about justice, about what justice should look like, about how to access justice, and about if we are doing all we need to do to live up to that guiding principle of justice for all. I do not have the answers to all these questions, but I promise that I will live up to the foundational, indispensable principles set forth in Canon 1 and be a judge who is independent and honorable and honest. This is also a moment where the justice system, like many other institutions, is being questioned. And these questions are likely good and healthy and maybe leading to promising changes. There's also the concern that the public trust of the justice system has eroded. And to the extent that that is true, I would like to do everything I can to restore that public trust. And again, I have no definitive answers to that concern, but I can promise you that my personal response as a judge will be to humbly serve the people who come before this court day in and day out, to treat them with courtesy and respect and patience, and to do everything I can to ensure that when they have an interaction with the 54B District Court, that they will leave here respecting the process, even if they don't particularly like the outcome. And this is all just a long way of saying that I will do my best to carry on the tradition of the 54B District Court, who has always treated this community, litigants, witnesses, with the utmost respect and courtesy. I am so very proud to be part of this court, and I thank you again, all of you, for being here today. Thank you.
a motion to adjourn.
Well, Judge, well, we have one more. One more thing. Yes. We are so lucky to have Deacon Dave Drayton from our parish, St. Thomas Aquinas and St. John's Student Center to be here to say a blessing. Thank you, Deacon.
Judge Ball and I used to play golf together. I see why he wanted me to leave. I wouldn't give him any strokes.
Can I say something about that? I, 2 days after I got the call about the Judge Greenwalt support, it was 3:40. We had this golf outing arranged at Hog Hollow where we used to play. For the incoming bar. And phone calls went back and forth. We had our first one open. And I mentioned to Judge Greenwalt that it was open. A short version of the conversation, and then she said, "Oh, I'd like to play." I said, "Oh, fine." Well, you're a heck of a golfer. And you know, it's almost sexist to say, what the fuck? That's the only part of the story. It's swim. And Judge Greenwalt and I, and Kevin was there. Kevin, big hitter. We, 150 yards, 175 yards tops, contributed more than half of the shots that led to our final score.
So you are.
That's right.
Well, it's an honor to be here. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And talking to Judge Greenwalt, well, she wasn't Judge Greenwalt officially yet. We talked the other day. What she really wanted me to concentrate on was for her wonderful reward for what I hear about her, for how honored she was to have been chosen. And the next thing she wanted to make sure that I talked about were the people that were in this court and how the 4 weeks have just taught you to do remarkable work, which she would never be able to do without you. So, Judge Greenwalt, may you know deep within that all your work and the work of your assistants is not just for you alone, but for the common good of the people of Michigan. And as you pursue your judicial position with much gratefulness and energy, may the Lord bless you with the wisdom that he granted to Solomon. And may the Father's blessings be upon you and all your assistants who enter this and all who enter this court. We give you thanks, Lord, for Judge Greenwalt, for the country we live in, for the opportunity to serve our sisters and brothers, and for your mercy and compassion. Dear Father, bless this court, bless this woman, bless the people that work with her, and bless the people who enter and leave this court. And bless everyone here, and deliver us all home safely. Amen.
Amen.
Judge Ball.
Thank you.
Okay. Motion to adjourn. Forward. We can all adjourn to the restaurant across the street called Dublin Square. And we'll see you all there.
Thank you.
Thank you.